you all for joining us today. It's a continued episode in the OFRS webinar series where we host industry leaders and talk about latest trends and innovation in channel management. So today we have with us Keshav Gupta, and he leads the Indigo Paints corporate strategy. He has been a part of Indigo Paints for 6+ years. He's an alumnus of MDI Gurgaon. Hi Keshav, we are happy to host you today, and thanks for taking out the time to join us.
Ritika, and afternoon to all the attendees.
So today we'll be focusing on 3 key areas. One is deeping dive into Indigo Paint's influencer loyalty program and how they are driving higher sales from this loyalty program. Apart from that, we'll be also looking into how to create engaging strategies to keep the influencers engaged, as well as looking into how to make channel partner programs more effective with technology. So before we begin, I would request Keshav to give us a brief about himself and his work at Indigo Paints.
So as Ritika told that I am handling the corporate strategy department here in Indigo Paints, which is the 5th largest company in India and the fastest growing in the Indian market. So I'm here with the company for more than 8 years now. In between, I have done my graduation and post-graduation from MDI Gurgaon. And I am looking various roles here, which includes this influencer loyalty program. And for the last couple of years after our IPO, the company has grown tremendously with the strategies that we have put in influencer loyalty area, and the results that have come are astounding, and we are looking forward to do more and more with the influencer community belongs to the build and construction material.
Sounds great. I think we would love to deep dive into the influencer loyalty program, which you currently have at Indigo Paints. Could you tell us more about what was the program before and what is the program now after you have signed up with OFRS?
Yeah. Ritika, do help me with one thing. Have you remembered using this Pokemon Tazo, which was used to come in that Uncle Chip packs?
Yes, why not? The small round Tazos.
So I am even the biggest, I can say I'm the biggest fan of that program, collected more than 1,000 Tazo at that point of time. So earlier, all the building material company, including the paint sector, uses a similar model what Uncle Chips has done by incorporating a plastic Pokemon Tazo inside their pack to influence the end consumer. So here in paint industry, that analogy becomes the same. Like instead of that Pokemon Tazo, we were putting up a plastic token for the for the influencer, which are basically the painter community in paint industry and other relevant people like carpentry when it comes to the wooden and fevicol industry, your masonry when it comes to cement and brick and mortars. So that was the program. So there was this plastic token which was taken up by the this painter people, and they straight away went to the shopkeeper, give them that token back and get their money back instantaneously. So that was a very simple process that was there at that point of time. So people can relate it with that collecting those Pokemon Tazos. Similarly, these painters were collecting these plastic tokens being inserted in the paint cans, and whenever one buys that, they receive that plastic tokens from them.
Right. So, would you like to I understand that Indigo Paints also did something like this. Would you like to tell us about the problems which were being faced in this process?
See, problem. Yes, there were several problems at that point of time. So if you remember, there was a time when this, like I'll take the example of Uncle Chips again. This Tazo becomes so popular among the children that there were many companies that were just making this Tazo and then they are being circulated in the market at some cost. And at one point of time, the number of Tazos which were there in the market is almost more and more as compared to the Uncle Chip sales. So that similar problem was there with us also. So anybody can make or get printed those uh, plastic tokens and get circulated in the market. So first, there was no way for us to see the genuinity of any particular plastic token that were
Okay.
put inside the paint can. There was a severe problem of pilferage, leakage. You have to do a reverse logistic process to took back all the tokens to the factory level, and then you will not able to understand what is happening with those uh, uh, plastic token in terms of understanding the secondary sales, because there was no data associated. You could not capture the secondary sales with those plastic tokens.
Right. So if I have to sum up the major problems in the traditional methods, were
Mhm.
one was the leakage, uh,
Correct.
no control on who is earning.
Mhm.
Second problem was the reverse logistics, receiving these tokens back and then accounting for them. And the third major problem was there was no actual data present for the companies to act on. There was no secondary sales database which they can use to improve these programs. Fair, I think these are very big problems which were there in the traditional methods. Now
Mhm.
we would like to delve into the newer program which was launched by Indigo Paints with OFRS and their app Decor Club. So we would like to understand like how did Indigo Paint revamped this program with the help of the technology to combat these three specific problems.
So all thanks to the internet penetration which is there right now in India, we don't see any person who has not a mobile phone with him currently. Even you go to a sabji wala dukan, you will find that he or she will be having a smartphone, maybe better than me and you, and they're using it fairly well. So
Right.
we can fairly say that India is now a tech savvy people generation. So we use that beneficial internet penetration and we have come up with a solution where we have, instead of putting plastic token, we have started putting a very special token which has a barcode imprinted on it. That barcode will have all the prerequisite data which was fed to it from the company level, like a specific SKU where it has been put in, the date of manufacturing, the batch number, and other relevant points. And these tokens were being put it into the cans the way we were putting the plastic tokens. And we have simultaneously developed an app for scanning those barcoded tokens. So once a painter or a contractor, which are influencer when it comes to painting industry, so whenever they buy a material from a dealer point, they receive those barcoded tokens. They have an app with them which they will scan the token and get instantaneous redemption point in that. So that was a fairly simple task that we have done. And let me come back to the question that how this technology and that app has helped us to solve that three previous problems that we were having. So the very first thing is the leakage issue. So the good part with the barcoded token is that no one except Indigo can get that genuine token, because each barcode token has got a very unique ID which is there in our database only.
Keshav, sorry, one thing, I think just to correct, so I think currently we are printing QR codes on those token, and we are, yeah, so please continue.
Those QR coded tokens in the backend has been identified with a very unique number. And that unique number, if someone wants to create that unique number, it's a 12-digit unique number, which is next impossible for anyone to create that similar number which is there in the database. So the very first problem of having a fake token is gone.
Right.
So nobody will be able to create a counterfeit token on behalf of Indigo Paints. Then there was a second problem of reverse logistics. So these tokens were designed in a way that as and when they are scanned, they become a sheet of a paper. Then their points have been used, and it's just a normal piece of paper. If anybody wants to scan it again, it will not be worked. So it will become deactive as and when the person scans the token.
Right.
So now we don't have to bother taking those tokens back to our factory premises.
Right.
As and when the painter or a contractor scans this token, this becomes a simple a paper.
Right.
Then third, we were saying what?
Collection of secondary sales data.
Correct. So I think this is the biggest thing that we have achieved with the technology that has been infused in this uh, loyalty program. See, every token has an input data which is fed by the factory, that this particular token has been in a particular A product. So as and when the scanning happens, you generate a data in the backend, like this was the product which was bought by this painter, his mobile number is this, on this date he has scanned the token, and with 3-4 months of period you generate a lot of data which act as a secondary sale data for you, which I don't think so in any other way generating a secondary sale data is possible.
Right. Yeah, I think very well resolved these three problems. And as rightly said, that secondary sales data does help in maximizing the output of these channel partner programs. I think let's, like, since we have started talking about the secondary sales data, we would like to delve into the most important topic of today, like how do we drive higher sales with the influencers. So I would like to understand your purview on how this influencer community is helping in driving the sales and impact in the overall revenue of the company.
Correct. Nee, I'll answer it in this way. I'll ask a question to you. Suppose you want to paint your house. What will be the starting point for you?
I think I look for a contractor or maybe, a age-old painter associated with the family or someone, or maybe I'll go and look on the internet on try to find a third-party contractor. So there would be someone whom I would like to rely on their inputs in this because I think someone who's doing the job daily could better guide on what could work nicely in my home. So yeah, I think I would look for that.
Mm, Let me ask us another question. If you want to buy a car, do you go to a car engineer to understand what sort of car you want, or you just decide which brand and which sort of car you want to buy, and then you directly go to the dealer premises to buy a car? If it is happening in the car segment, which is fairly a very technical driven product, why we are not doing the same thing when it comes to painting your home? Why don't you go directly to a dealer point and buy paint for yourself.
Right. I think the difference is also because car is a product which I would be using directly and more relatability, but a building material, any type of material which is going in constructing the home would also have fair input from the person who would be applying it or using it. So I feel like the inclusivity from this angle would also help, and I would want this person to also be part of the decision making
So,
as a consumer.
what Ritika wants to say, if I brief this thing, is when it comes to building material like painting services, carpentry, tiling, electrician, plumber, the end consumer, people like you and me, are not really educated with the functionality of the products which is being offered in the market by the companies. So we have to rely on someone who knows the product better than us and who can guide us in terms of what product needs to be procured from the market and how they will help in solving my problem. So let's take an example of painting services. So painting services usually starting with applying putty, then primer, then base coat, then top coat. And every segment has got hundreds of products which are there in the market.
Right.
But the end consumer doesn't know much about all these intricacies when it comes to painting services or in any other, let's say, building material activities. So they rely on, as you said, that you will call a contractor or a painter, and then he will become a point of influencer for you in deciding what material needs to be buy, what category of material you have to go for, and then finally ending up with the kind of brand that you are going to use. So when you are relying everything on him, he becomes a major influencer in driving up the sales for a particular company. Same is the case with painting service, painting industry also. So the end consumer, he just want ki, I want red color on my wall. Now, how to get that red color, which company, which brand, which category, everything has been decided by either a painter or a contractor. So these two people have become a major influencer when it comes to selling point for us.
Right.
So we like people have been driving the sales through them by incentivizing them in different formats. Usually, like I was telling, initially it was happening with those plastic tokens. Now, with the help of this barcoded tokens and a Decor Club app, which we have, we can drive up the sales in a much more effective way by influencing this painter and contractor community by saying that you use more of Indigo paints, or you recommend the Indigo paint brand to the end consumer, and we are there to help you out in terms of monetary benefits, tangible benefits, intangible benefits, etc.
Right, makes sense. I think you rightly said, like, we need these influencers to recommend the products to the end consumers. And for them to do so, there is one part technology, that how easy we make for them to, earn this extra brownie points on all the sales they are helping the brand make. And another factor is like how do we keep them motivated. So there are again two things in this. One is engagement, which we will talk later in the session, and one is the rewards. Like how do we allocate funds to design the rewards in this category. So how does Indigo Paints does it, or what is the general recommendation on allocating funds in designing the rewards?
See, when it comes to allocation of the funds, you have to understand what sort of rewards you are planning to give it to your influencer communities. These rewards can be broadly classified into two categories: tangible rewards and non tangible rewards. Tangible rewards, like you give them direct cash to their banks, or you can give them an Amazon voucher, or they have certain points which they can redeem by choosing a particular product, let's say an AC, a fridge, or a TV. So you can incentivize them in terms of a tangible rewards, and this is one way of influencing your influencer. The other way is the non-tangible assets that you play with them in order to get their long-term loyalty. Those non-tangible assets can be giving them insurance to their family, providing education to their children, making them feel that they are a part of company, they are an employee of a company by constantly be in touch with them, help them in understanding the painting services in a more effective way, train them to become a better painter in terms of efficiency. So normally these
Right.
funds allocate in two proportions. And as I have said earlier, when there was no technology available, you just have a fund. Let's say your management says you have 50 crore to spend on your influencer community. Without any data backup, without anything, you just say ki I'll park my 30 crore to tangible thing and 20 crore to all this non-tangible assets, and then
Yeah.
you just do it and forget what is happening in the market, because there is no way to understand the return on investment what you are putting in. But
Right.
now, with the help of these technologies that we have been gifted with a lot of informations at the back end, and we can use those secondary informations to make this reward efficiency better and better. So you know which particular painter in which area, or a particular contractor in which area of India is picking which category of your material, and how you can leverage those data points to improve your allocating budget. Like, I give you a very simple example, and it will be fairly simple. Suppose you have normally paint material comes in 4 SKUs, in 1 liter, 4 liter, 10 liters, and 20 liters.
Okay.
You have been asked to deploy, let's say, 100 rupees. What you will do? You will deploy 25 rupees in 1 liter, 25 in 4, similarly 10 and 20. And
Okay.
your job is done. And
Traditional way of
you
doing
were
it.
doing the same thing earlier.
Yeah.
Now, with this barcoded tokens, you can, well, this is what we have understood, that suppose that this contractor community normally lifts material in 10 and 20 liters. They do not lift 1 and 4 liter, because they are a big contractor. They require volume paints. So they normally shift their tendency towards that bulk packing materials. Now,
Okay.
with this kind of insight, when you have, you will allocate your entire resources specifically for contractors in 10 and 20 liters also only. So you are using your resources in a much more efficient way with the help of data that is being generated with every scan of these tokens that we are putting into it. And it's a continuous process. The more data you will be generating, the more insights you will be developing, and your effectiveness of allocating your resources will improve. So it's a continuous process basically.
Right. So just to sum up, so when we start allocating the funds, we want to focus on both the things: tangible benefits for the influencer community as well as the intangible benefits, so
Yes.
that there's a long-term loyalty and association also there with the brand. And there's also a need to utilize the secondary data collected from the technology platforms and doing continuous experimentation in improving the fund allocation, in improving the program structure. So yeah, that one element I think gets added when you deploy technology in this area. Now coming to the second part, how to keep. So you have deployed. I think Indigo deployed the app somewhere around in May 2022. So it's almost 1.5 years. and we have seen like around a 4x growth between quarters to quarters in terms of the scanning we are receiving or the onboarding which is happening on the app, which was surprisingly very pleasant for us as well, seeing as a technology platform. But the next question comes, so even if the program is a success at the start, how do we ensure that the participation remains maintained? So how do we keep ensuring that the participation increases and we maintain this connect with the influencers?
So the only way to ensure that the participation remains in force is to connect with these people more and more. So you have to talk to them, understand their lifestyles, what they are doing, what particular a day is there in for a painter or a contractor. So you may be surprised after talking to them and understanding that their behavior pattern is very different from us. They may be watching a different, suppose very different contents on OTT, which you may not at all aware. Me and you sitting in a metro city using your, Instagram and all this,
Yeah.
we feel that everyone is on the same platform and everybody will be there, and then you start putting up your resources on that platform. Whereas when you start interacting with them on daily basis, every company will have a large field force who on daily basis are interacting with these painters and contractor by doing painter meets, contractor meets, artist meets, and the kind of feedback these people will have, and then when they want to tell you the feedbacks, it's our responsibility first to hear them nicely, understand that whatever they are saying there has a logic behind that, and then you have to start incorporating their ideas, their feedbacks into your system. Like for example, I'll tell you, when we started this program of scanning the tokens, we want to advertise this entire thing on a digital platform. So we want to know where these contractors and the painters normally use their phones, for which particular OTT, which particular show they are more onto. And when you ask your field force to communicate with them, understand, you find that there are n number of influencer within the YouTube community. There is a Raghu Bhai, which is very, very famous with the painter and community, which we are not at all aware who is he. But when you go to his channel and see that this guy has got 15 lakh, 20 lakh followers, you will be surprised that kind of follower that he has. So then you start engaging him in terms of connecting with more and more painters. So very simple, the answer to the question, like how will you make sure that you are engaging with your painters and community contractors? First, you have to listen to your field force who are there in the market, who is constantly be in touch with their painters and contractors. You have to hear them out, and if anything comes up from them, implementing very fast. Like you can't wait for like 3 6 months or a year to implement those ideas. You have to be very agile in implementing those ideas so that you can see the result on the field itself.
Right. So, like the topic of our webinar was the high entropy formula. We called it high entropy formula because the influencer base, it could be quite distributed, and still you have successfully run this channel management program pan India. So how did that thought process came? We keep getting this line of thought because every influencer is situated in different geographies. They have their own set of beliefs. So how do we cut through them and design a program using technology? So this high entropy or the differences, how do we combat them and create a simpler program?
See, the basic mantra to achieve an high entropy, and we follow it very diligently in our company, that everyone in our company works with having a microscope in one eye and a telescope in the other, which means we have to think for future by understanding the very present intricacies that we have in terms of data, in terms of consumer insights, in terms of feedbacks, in terms of technologies that are available right now. And
Mm.
with these small efforts, intricate data points, we have to think for the future. So if I am planning something for 6 months down the line, we have to understand that all these things needs to be done in a very microscopic manner. Microscopic manner in the sense we have to, anything that comes whenever it's a new thing, the very basic rule is to make it very simple. So when we have launched this Decor Club app, we have a lot of things that can be incorporated in that, but we have restricted ourselves in the very first uh, level is that the app only does two basic things: the scanning of coupon and the redemption of the points.
Mm.
Which to, I think your team also, when they were deploying the app, they were saying what is there to do in with these two set of things that you are asking for. And we always tell them, you just do it this simple thing first. Let us launch this thing in the market, and then the kind of feedback that will be generating from the community itself, we will incorporate and develop the app more and more. So it's always, back and forth. So you start with a very simple thing for a particular community, and then you take the feedback from the community and then start developing your app, your technology on basis of what they want. It's not that what you want you are putting in the app. It's like what the community wants. You have to put all those uh, data points, features on your technology platform.
So
So I
would it be right to say that Indigo Paint sort of took a leap of faith with the technology, with O4S, and with launching? Because we know that Indigo Paints is a big company operating pan India, and launching a program like this would have been some sort of leap of faith. I mean, calculated risk, but sure. So we get this. I think a lot of hesitation also to launch something bigger associated with the brand name. So how did you guys figure this out and took this jump? Obviously now we see a lot of good result, but taking the jump would have taken a lot of thought process within the leadership team. So how did you come to this consensus?
consensus in the sense to make the app simple, or to constantly
Just
engage
have
with.
just have an app to just have a technology platform for the channel partners. So this, because there was a traditional method which was still working, but then this was complete shift in the way of doing things. So it's like it's if I had to give a very simple example, I would say it was like we were using Datuns now, and now we have just shifted to an electric toothbrush of some new brand. So that would have taken some leap of faith. So how did you and the strategy team decided to get into this, or how did the whole process started?
The whole process started. It's so we like the very first question that we were saying, it's a risk when you are associated with those traditional methods that we have discussed in the very beginning of this webinar. And you will be, so we were amazed when we were doing a market research for this particular app, and we were meeting like 50 painters a day or 50 contractors in a day. And one thing was common with everyone. every painter or a contractor has got a smartphone with them.
Right.
He has got a smartphone. He has also got a keypad phone.
Hmm.
So that we ask them, what are you doing with that smartphone? So he's saying there are so many ways we can learn and improve ourselves using the smartphone. And we were aghast. We were like, if these people are using smartphones and learning the different ways of painting, they are hooked upon YouTube channels which helping them in making them learn new design, new ideas, and all that. We thought, why don't we use this technology which are there with hands-on with every painter and develop an app for them, so they also get that instant gratification of getting the coupon, scanning it right away, and getting the points in their bank right away.
Right. So if I have to sum up, then Indigo Paints took the uh, so you guys basically are riding the wave of technology adoption and wanted to have a quick mover advantage in this area, and hence the
Absolutely.
technology adoption comes in. Sounds
Yeah.
good. I think that should help a lot of people on the webinar to also understand and form a thought process on how to go about, and which areas to deploy the technology. So, as you said, there are two simpler cases where everyone can easily start to give this instant gratification that people can earn something, and then digitizing the claims. So the digitizing part of the claims for the Decor Club app is, I think, a big hit. So we would like to delve more into that as well. Like, did you feel like that because of the digital claims, there were higher, uh, you know, adoption or satisfaction from the influencer community side?
Oh, definitely. It's like how the Modi government get benefited from the direct bank transfer when it comes to giving that extra 200 rupees directly into the bank account of all the ladies who are purchasing the cylinders. So that
Right.
whatever schemes that were there, the Modi government was doing this direct bank transfer. So we adopt a similar thing. Why not, when people have bank accounts with them, why not just put the money directly into their bank account? Then they don't need to go to a dealer shop to get their money back. And people love that thing. Who doesn't want to have a direct instant reward in your bank account?
Right. Sounds great. Actually, this conversation has helped me as well to understand and look into newer product innovations we can do at O4S. What to look for when adding more value-adding features for the channel partners of the brand. So, folks, if you want to ask any questions to Keshav, please feel free to add in the Q&A section. So meanwhile, the question starts to come in. One question for you, Keshav. So, is there any like one piece of strategic advice for people who are trying to build better channels in the building material industry? Like one basic strategic advice everyone should keep in mind.
Start with very, very simple things. See,
Hmm.
once it's a very natural tendency with everyone when they want to launch something, or when they want to change something, they want everything to be there at one go. Like, for suppose, when you are building an app for anything, you have to first ask a question with you: what will this app do for your end target? That very first answer that you will have, that entire app should be built on that model. Then secondary things, like it should have a gamification button, you should have some pop-up notification, it should be linked with your website channel or this or that. All these things will be secondary. Like, for
Right.
us, when we were launching the app, we asked ourselves and to our team and to our management, what do you want from the app to function? And all of them has said two things. First, it should scan the token, and the person can claim those points.
Right.
So we have made the app as simple as that. It looks very, very simple when you open the app, but that is what the painter and the contractor likes the most. They were saying to us, सर हम जब बाकी कंपनीज के ऐप खोलते हैं हमको स्कैन करने के लिए स्क्रॉल डाउन करना पड़ता है, इधर जाना पड़ता है, उधर जाना पड़ता है, बट विद योर ऐप इट्स वेरी सिंपल. हम ऐप खोलते हैं, देयर आर टू टैब्स, ऑन वन इट हैज बीन रिटन स्कैन, the other one it has been written claim.
Right. So yeah, so I would just like sum up Keshav's strategic advice that start small and keep incrementally building it. Use the secondary sales data you collect from the technology platforms. Keep
And then
improving.
I just added to it that, so when you start this thing with the simple thing, give it a time, give it like 4 months, 6 months down the line, so that you will start generating these secondary data or whatever data. Like for us it's a secondary sales data, for other it can be other thing, and then you start those analyzing those data first, and then try to come up with meaningful insight which will eventually help you to attain higher ROI.
Right. So we have got some couple of thanks for the strategic advice, Keshav. I think everyone on the call would benefit from it, including the product technology sales team at Operas also.
Mm-hmm.
So we have got some good question, and one question came on the ROI itself from Atinder Singh. That can you elaborate more on the ROI of such programs, and maybe a bit on how to measure the ROI?
I'll give you like the current things what we are doing. So the with the help of data that we are generating right now, which is a secondary sales data with us, we can analyze that data and we can say that if a particular product, we can see the sales of all the products happening through those secondary channels, and we can plan our production at the factory with the help of that secondary data. So the time that used to come, like normally that prime, once the primary sales pushes up, this dealer point will put their indent to the depot level, and when once they receive that indent, they find ki, oh, this particular product is gaining popularity, so we have to add more inventory of that particular product. Then they will tell the manufacturing unit ki we need this product, and then the planning start there. And this will create, let's say, a 15 days gap in terms of secondary data, actual sale, and the point when the manufacturing unit realize that, oh, this trend is coming up. But with this kind of data generation and analysis, as soon as this thing is happening, you can tell your straight factory that, boss, ये product का material बिक रहा है, आप you better plan to manufacture this thing before you'll get that insight from your depot. So ultimately, you will be able to manage your raw material resources, your production efficiency, which indirectly is a huge ROI when it comes to your sales and marketing budget.
Right. And just to add, like we were looking into the efficacy of the program, and we ended up finding like there's traceability of around like 60 to 70% of the products in the market for Indigo Paints, which is a huge success for O4S as well. That we are able to actually provide you that much value that it can flow back to the manufacturing and production planning process too. So yeah, it
That's the
feels
biggest ROI for any company, where
right.
you have 50% of your gross margins are going towards procuring the raw material. And if you know 15 days prior what material will be asked by the end consumer, you can procure those raw material efficiently well before in timely manner. And your inventory management, your depot sales, you will not lose, your sales order just because you don't have an inventory at that point of time.
Right. So the ROI can be direct, which can be measured in terms of the sales, which is
Right?
increasing. And then there is indirect ROI, which is feeding back into the manufacturing process, procurement process, planning process. So I think makes total sense. And so we have a couple of questions around the claims as well. So
Mhm.
one question around the claim came that are you paying the claims on the same day as scanning is happening, or is it after certain corpus of 1,000, 5,000 or so?
No, nothing like that. We have made a minimum mandate, let's say 200, 300 points, that
Hmm.
once you accumulate that minimum reward points, the painter or a contractor, whenever he feels, he can just press a claim button and the app will ask his or her bank account number, and within 4 hours with RTGS or NEFT, that money from an escrow account straight away goes to this contractor or a painter account. So it's the turnaround time will be maximum what, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending what NEFT time will take normally from transferring the money from your escrow account to the account holder account.
Right. So another question came around this that is it like would painters prefer getting a big lump sum amount accumulated at the end of the period, or would they want instant smaller amounts?
They want instant. They
Instant.
accumulate 200 points. They want instantly in their bank account. It should be funny if I say that money that they get normally they go to a bar shop and instantly buy something for them. So that's normally these functions will use that reward. Normally go have a party or something. So they don't want to accumulate all these things. That is what we are understanding currently. So the number
Right.
of claims every day with such small amount has been way high as compared to those big single chunk claim amount.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. So I've got one tough question from Mr. Yeah, from Mr. Sunil Singh that how is the program which Indigo running differentiated from similar programs being run by other companies? So how do you add that edge into this program, or while designing, what did you think about?
I've already given the answer. Our app, if you compare it with any other competitor, is by far the simplest app we have in the market. So we don't have to ask our sales employee to go and teach them. Currently, what is happening, a painter is teaching another painter ki you use an Indigo app, which is by far the simplest app in the market. So that itself becomes a point of differentiation for you when it comes to creating a very different or an innovative app. The second is our claim process is very simple. We normally go and choose the way to a D2B, which is direct to bank transfer, where the person is getting his money instantaneously without any waiting period.
That makes sense. So simplify the experience for the influencers and ensure that if they want instant gratification, they can take that at any time in the journey with the
What
brand.
happens in the other companies is that once they press a button of claim, then that approval goes to the let's say to the depot manager or the shopkeeper from whom he has bought the material, and then he has to first approve by saying that yes, this contractor is a genuine contractor or a painter is a genuine painter who has taken this material from me. Then that approval goes to the branch manager and so on and so forth. So by the time the money comes to his bank account, it always a delay in that gratification. So we
Right.
choose not to go with on that way by making the things very simple for him.
Right. I have got another question. Is it like if you have any R&R programs happening across annual dealer contractor conferences, and please elaborate on that and how do you strategize on that? So I think it's a bit offshoot from the topic we are discussing,
So I
but
want to understand
you know.
guy wants to understand how we do a dealer program or a program for a painter or a contractor.
Um, Annual dealer or contractor conferences
I
for
think he is referring to the influencer thing.
Hmm.
See, we normally see it's not an annual process for us. We have a internal team which we call a field marketing team, which normally conducts this contractor meets on daily basis. So it's not like a one-time phenomena for Indigo Paints to have a contractor meet across India. And so we do it on regular basis in small trenches. So people in, let's say in Pune is having, he will go to a dealer, accumulate some 15, 20 contractor and does a contractor meet, try to understand their problem, show our products, understand, make him understand the app that we have designed. Uh, and when it comes to contractor meet or a painter meet, I would like that I was discussing about those intangible benefits that normally this community associate far more, giving efficacy far more than this tangible things. And one example that comes in my mind is of the company Pidilite.
Hmm.
So what this company usually do is once in a year he will call their top 100 carpenter across India. They will call them to Mumbai, make them a Mumbai darshan for one day,
Hmm.
and then ask them to come to their head office where these people will come and had a tea with the managing director of the company, Madhukar Bhai. And please understand, these people are like who have never traveled in a flight. So they were being given a flight ticket. They have never stayed, not even in a three-star hotel. So there they are being put up in a four-star or a five-star kind of a hotel. And the best highlight of that program is that in the evening, those 100 contract this carpenters are sitting up having a tea with the managing director of Pidilite, Mr. Madhukar Bhai. And Madhukar Bhai himself is asking कि आपकी लाइफ में क्या चल रहा है. That becomes like the talking point in their village or in their town. When these people go back to their town, they will be treating like a film star there. कि भाई हम मधुकर भाई से मिलकर आए हैं, उन्होंने पूछा है मेरे बेटे के बारे में कि कब शादी होने वाला है. That loyalty that come from those small things, nobody can get that loyalty by just rewarding them by way of incentivizing by money or with gifts and other things. So we are also trying to build such relationship with these contractors. It will not happen in one meeting or in 1 year. You will
Yeah.
continuously have to put your effort in that direction. May treat them like your own family, treat them like their own employees, so that they will become a brand ambassador of your company in their village or in their town.
Right. So I will take just one last question before we end the webinar. So one person has asked, like, what were the challenges faced while implementing this app, and how did you overcame those challenges? Specifically in adoption, like if you faced any challenges in the
Challenge is you have developed something, it's a very good thing. It will work tremendously when it comes when someone uses it. The major challenge is the communication. How do you communicate your
right.
proposition to these people? So I think that was the major challenge that we were facing at that point of time. That we have developed the app and we are saying that it's one of the simplest app you will have. How do you communicate this entire story to these people? So you have to strategize your communication strategy much effective way when
Right.
you are trying to build all this technology.
Sounds fair. So we have to ensure that we are able to get the word out that we are
Correct.
launching some new technology, and people try to
And
make
without, so you have to
try.
you have to balance it out. You can't just splurge money in your communicating strategies, which ends
Hmm.
up at a very low ROI. So you have to balance it, how to get that maximum output when it comes to communication of your deliverables in the market.
Right. Sounds good, Keshav. I think I personally enjoyed the conversation and learned a lot about how OFRS is helping in a small way to the overall momentum which Indigo Paints is creating in driving higher sales through the influencer channels. And I'm sure everyone on the call would have also got some great insights and more clarity on how to deploy technology and how to make the partner programs more successful. I think we are well in time. I'll just start a small poll for folks to let us know how did they like the webinar. And you can also reach out to our sales team and to our company, and we can help you more ahead. So thanks a lot, Keshav, to take out the time and
Anytime.
continue serving Indigo in the same manner.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.